Alright, what is up, guys? Here we are, the final review. We had the Narsh review a long time ago and the Tomasa review a long ass time ago. Now it's time to talk about the hack right before we go into Kefka's tower to destroy Kefka. This guy, right above me, that I used for the thing. Okay, so, this is by no means comprehensive. I kind of just brainstormed a little bit and tried to remind myself of everything that's happened throughout this hack, because there has been a lot. But as far as T Edition goes, I'm gonna start baseline here. I'm gonna start with the very basic stuff. All right, so the translation. All right, let's talk about the translation. I've been informed that a lot of this translation is from the DS edition of Final Fantasy VI, which I have mentioned a few times that I never played. Okay, so you might hear me talk about some things that are in the DS version that I just don't know are, and I'm going to attribute that to the ROM hacker for coming up with them when maybe they didn't. So I'm sorry if I didn't do my research there, but anyway, let's just talk about the translation. Holy crap, it was actually okay. Now, I had my doubts at the beginning, right? As soon as I saw two things clued me in that I wasn't going to get too upset by it, right? Because I have pretty much 24/7 nostalgia goggles, right? That's something that everybody who watches this channel knows about me, right? I love my old games, and I like my old games the way my old games are, the things I remember and stuff. Now, that's super subjective, right? For instance, like, as you've probably noticed, I call cells. Now, there's a lot of people out there who probably call her Celeste. When I was a kid, I called her Cells. I still do today. Not exactly sure what the canon is. I'm sure it's probably Celeste, but I still call her Cells. Things like that. That's subjective. Similarly, in Chrono Trigger, I call Marle. A lot of people call her Marley. I don't begrudge them for that. That's just, you call them what you called them when you were a kid, right? So, that being said, I was really pleasantly surprised as soon as I saw that Terra's name was Terra, and that Kefka's name was not spelled with a C. I was suddenly a little bit more put at ease, because a lot of translations will have Kefka's name spelled with a C, Terra's name will be Tina. Sorry, Terra's such a much better name than Tina. Not that the name Tina is bad, but for Terra works for her. It means Earth, and she's like half Esper and shit. That's what it should be. Regardless of that, the translation itself was okay. The lines changed a little bit, obviously, from what I'm used to, which was no big deal. Once I got over the hump of the first couple of episodes of this, I got over it pretty quick. Some things that I was a little bit put off by, like, okay, so Poo-Poo, right? Poo-Poo was from 8, right? Am I losing my mind? And it replaced Zone Seek, and I always really liked Zone Seek. It was always just a really weird looking Esper. You didn't really use him that much, and he was kind of cool. It didn't really put me off until I realized how often I had to use Poo-Poo, and how often I had to say the words Poo-Poo. And I'm sure that you can go back in all of these episodes and find all the most hilarious times that I said poo-poo and didn't realize the hilarity of the sentence, because after you say something for a while, it loses hilarity, because it's now you have to use it. You have to make you have to make utility of the word so much that it's just in the back of your mind now. But yeah, the poo-poo kind of looks dumb. It's not Zone Seek, but regardless of that, that was maybe the one thing that put me off on it. Just other little things, like when I received relics and stuff, it took me a minute to realize what it was supposed to be. Because, if it was named what it was in vanilla, it's like, oh, that's this, duh. And then add to that, these are relics that are from vanilla, but they changed some things about them. So if I'm not recognizing the names of them from vanilla, what am I going to know that they used to be? You know, stuff like that. But we got over that too. Eventually, I was able to just roll with it, right? So no big deal there. Some of the lines on the pro side were very well improved. Like, you know, all of Kefka's lines. Oh my god, they're so good. This hack's lines for Kefka's speech are so good. And I don't know whether or not to attribute that to the hacker or to the translation for the DS or whatever, but there's that. But while we're on the subject of that, let's talk about new Espers. Okay, I'm actually going to go into the Esper list just to look so I don't forget any. So I really liked the retooling here of Espers, right? I like the fact that they teach you different stuff now. I told the story at the beginning of the playthrough that I was actually really mad about that going into a ROM hack from a long ass time ago. There was a ROM hack, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it claimed in the description to just be the base game vanilla, nothing different except that you get General Leo as a character. Like, the story makes it so that he's gonna be a character on your team. He replaces Shadow, right? So I went in saying, okay, I'm just gonna play FF6, and that's gonna be cool, and I'm just gonna get General Leo as a character now. That's awesome. Turns out they changed all the translation of it, of course. I played up until I got my first Espers. They were all weirdly named, and they all taught you something different, and they all did different level up bonuses, and I'm like, this is not what was advertised to me, right? That's what made me mad about it, and I quit that. I didn't even continue that game. I was just so upset that I thought this was just going to be FF6 plus Leo, and it was FF6 plus Leo plus a bunch of other crap that I wasn't told about, right? So that's kind of what's put me off to that. But knowing that that was the experience I was going in with this hack, knowing that this stuff was going to be very different, I got past it, right? So that being said, the Espers and what they teach you are cool. It kind of limited you in fun ways, and because the hacker put together boss fights and stuff that they designed to be able to beat at certain times, you know, you had all the tools you needed, and you just had to figure it out. It was very much like a puzzle game. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Like, it really came down to what's the piece that I'm missing, right? That is a pro and a con for this hack. Okay, I'll say that now. The pro of it is playing through, figuring that out, and just having the eureka moment at being like, oh shit, I should do this. That is freaking amazing, and it feels really good to figure it out. The con about that is brings the replay value down. Next time if I ever play T Edition again, I know exactly how to beat every boss. But that's with any game, right? So, and I've played the vanilla FF6 so damn many times, and it never gets old. So I wouldn't say that's a total con, but it is a con in some way. Like, you're gonna lose that initial feeling you got when you figured out how to beat these bosses. So that's one downside, but it's an upside with your first playthrough, especially if you don't have anyone spoiling you, which, thank you guys so much. Whenever I asked you, please don't, like, give me strategies on how to beat the bosses. You know, don't spoil anything in that regard. You know, I had some commenters that sort of did, not really, like, outright, you know, saying how to beat something, but being like, hey man, this is really good, you should try using this sometime. Never even telling me, like, where I would need it. Just saying, hey, this is something cool that might help you out and you might like. That was awesome. Thank you guys for being so, like, appreciative of how I wanted to play the game, because that's my favorite part of any game like this, not knowing going in what's going to happen, and just figuring out the strategies as I went along. And I really thought that it was going to be boring for you guys watching me struggle so much against bosses, and everybody really liked the struggle, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear that that you guys just stuck in and watched me get decimated over and over and over by same bosses. But I like that because you get to see in real time my reasoning process when it comes to just discerning how to beat a boss and how to get through certain fights and stuff. And it was really cool. It was really cool for me to go back and watch the gears turning and listening to me talk and being like, no, you're wrong, but I know why you thought that. That was really fun, and I love that about this playthrough. But anyway, getting back to the Espers and stuff. Yeah. So they were game changers. Not many of them, right? These, like Ramu, Siren, Ifrit. Siren came in handy in a couple of spots, namely against Goddess, because it's a wind attack, and there's not a lot of wind attacks. Karen was helpful in a lot of places for the regen and just for a heal that goes through the reflect and stuff. I did not use Stray that much. Yes, it's Stray, not Kate Sith. That's one thing that I would say I'm not happy about, but I like Stray. Anyway, Shiva, Ifrit, Unicorn didn't really help that much. Madwin we didn't even get to use. Catoblepus was actually, Shote was really good to use for grinding when I was fighting the stuff in the Water Crystal dungeon, like deep ones and stuff, because they're hurt by petrification. They can be petrified, so being able to petrify whole teams every now and then was nice instead of having a single target break. So he helped there. Phantom I don't think I used, actually, which is a shame because I'm sure it could have helped in some spots. Carbuncle I used, or I didn't use quite as much as I probably should have. I know there were a few of you in the comments that said Carbuncle was a great strategy for some bosses instead of just setting up Reflect, but I never used him really for that purpose. Leviathan, once we got him, he was really, really helpful for doing damage, man, of course. Like, we were throwing him like crazy. He's Leviathan, though. What are you gonna do? Of course he is. These two were required to me for many things. Poo Poo and Golem are the dream team. They are the shit. Like, just Golem got us through so many physical attack spots that we never would have made it through without him. And his cast time is fast. He's relatively cheap to cast. Just thank you, Golem, for being awesome. You definitely get the Esper MVP award. And we're going to be giving out more awards later for other things too, so stick around for that. Poo Poo was also really helpful. Being able to put up wall was just so nice. Or shells, I'm sorry, on everybody. It was just so nice. And not having to go through and shell each individual person. And it was pretty much always helpful, because so much shit uses magic. We got to use the Mist Dragon a few times. I love that this was in the game. I love that the references to Final Fantasy IV. And I love that I like the fight with it too. It was kind of annoying, but it was cool. And we got Blink from it just in time. There were a lot of fights where we used Blink. Seraph was also really fun. And beating her in the World of Balance, I assume, is not when you're supposed to beat her. Especially judging from when she popped up in the... Oh, maybe she was in the World of Balance. You were expected to beat her there, because apparently you could fight Carbuncle and Shote in the World of Balance. I just didn't know, so I ended up skipping them. So Seraph, we beat her in the World of Balance, and that was awesome. That victory felt really good, because she had wrecked me quite a few times, and that gave us Cure 2, which was really helpful for getting through the floating continent, and Raise, which we hadn't had yet. So yeah, good on you, Seraph. And that was the first clue that I got that there were going to be Espers we had to fight in order to get their powers. Which is another really, really cool thing that this hack did. It basically made you have to fight to get these guys. Fenrir, I think I used it once, didn't I? Did I use Fenrir? I think I used Fenrir to fight the dragon in the Fanatics Tower, right? Am I losing my mind? Was that when I used it? Man, it's been so long since I did that. I think that's when I used it, because it berserks and hastes in this hack, which is cool. I think I did use him there. Tritok, he wrecked our shit a couple of times before I had to come back and fight him. Fun fight. Really came down to having to have non-elemental damage, which we eventually got from the Black Robe teaching us Flare, because we beat that Death Rider monster in a box and the Zone Eater, and that's what got us the Black Robe and taught us Flare, and that's when we were finally able to start taking enemies out with decent non-elemental damage. We haven't really used Tritok much though, although I do like the fact that this hack made it so that when you hit something with a multiple element attack, this was not in vanilla, by the way, if you hit something with a multiple element attack and they resist or absorb one of them, the other two still do damage. So, like, say if that was like that in Beyond Chaos. I had a Beyond Chaos seed once where I had a katana that was proccing Tritok, and it was really nice AoE, but if an enemy resisted even one of the elements, it did no damage, or it healed them all, which was a shame. But yeah, we probably could have made more use of Tritok, I just didn't. Titan we never used. We did beat him on a second try, I do believe. And that fight was exactly how you would expect a fight with Titan to go, of course. Just float and don't die. Ashura was a pushover. She did teach us Kiraga though, which we definitely needed at the time, and made it, again, so that we could fight some more powerful bosses. That is something that I will also say about this hack. I know I keep going off the rails a little bit, but you became strong enough to beat certain Espers, and the progression of beating those Espers, making it easier to beat other Espers and bosses, was so well done. Like, it gave me the tools to be able to, like, go fight something else. Like, Kura-ing was not enough for the bosses after up to this point, and then when we beat Ashura and got Kiraga, then we were able to go and fight stronger stuff because we had an even stronger healing spell. You know, just having Flare and Kiraga changed the game. And that was kind of like it was all the way across the hack. You would get a piece of equipment or a spell or something that just opened up a tiny new thing you could do, and then when you finished that tiny new thing you could do, you got something else that made this other thing open up. And it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't scattershot, it was just smart. Diablos, we came back and fought him. He was easy, just had to wait him out. I did not realize that the first time I fought him, and we got wrecked by him, but eventually we came back and got him. Haven't really used him, but him teaching us Dispel was the godsend, because we needed that for a few things. It helped us dispel Mighty Guards and stuff. It helped us dispel Reflex that we accidentally bounced or something. It's really nice. Phoenix was used so much more in this hack than it ever is in vanilla. It was always one of my favorite Espers that didn't get enough love, because all it does is re-raise your whole party. Well, not re-raise, but raise your whole party. It doesn't do damage or anything, and it was very niche when you got to use it in vanilla. However, in this, it was actually really good to have equipped on Terra, because she survives really easily. I currently have it on her because that's really nice in a clutch situation where Terra's the last character standing and you just need your party back up. Boom, it's done. Thank you, Phoenix. And the fact that it taught arrays to us, which was Cure 2, and that also helped us get along through more enemies that were giving us trouble. Odin. The only time I remember using Odin itself was against Hidden, I think. Oh wait, I used it against those that weird, like, pseudo-inferno fight in Kefka's Tower, right? Where there were two guys that we had to get rid of. I did use it in there, I think. But really, what we got off of Odin was Medio and Haste 2. Medio we only used a few times, but it was helpful when we did use it, and it was pertinent to use it. And Haste 2, what's there to say about Haste 2? It's good in every game. It's always good to cast. Just thanks for that, Odin. And the fight with him, holy shit. Shadow, my dude, dodging everything, blocking everything, Interceptor jumping in there, barking, biting, and Shadow just living, dude. That was a freaking awesome fight. Bahamut. Bahamut was what pushed us over the edge finally into consistently breaking the 9,999 damage barrier. He's still used, he's still good. Bahamut was awesome. The fight with him was a pain in my balls. And it's cool. We rolled some fixed dice on him and beat him. If we had not rolled that fixed dice roll, I don't know if we would have beat him in that fight, if I'm being honest with you. So I think that might have been an instance of me getting very, very lucky in a fight. But it was super nice to get Bahamut and start chucking him. We already had Flare because of the Black Robe. But Bahamut being there to cast and use, once I realized it, was amazing. I'm sure I realized it way too late too, but regardless. Okay, Ragnarok. We did not use Ragnarok ever. I'm sure there's some good stuff out there we can metamorph, but I never really used it, so can't really comment on it too much. Alright, Crusader. Crusader taught us these two. I haven't used either one really. I think I used Scourge like once. I guess that if you fight against something that is weak to poison, Scourge would be really good instead of bio or poison. But it also says it's a dark spell. I don't know if it's dark element or if it's actually poison element. I'm not sure. I don't think there are dark element attacks in this. And Exome we didn't get to use because it didn't work on Rexol anyway. So, whatever. But, yeah, we got Crusader. I forget where we got Crusader. I don't remember, actually. But, either way, moving on. Ultima. Obviously, this fight was a pain in the nuts as well. We got through it with pure damage. Going through her dungeon was a pain, too. The Four Fiends fights were nuts. I loved the strategy involved. I loved the fact that it was a red herring all the way through. Obviously, the Four Fiends required strategy to get through, and then Ultima was just punch me in the face, and you had to realize that quickly. But since then, she's been our go-to for damage, obviously, because she's just better Bahamut. And now we can have Ultima and Bahamut, so even better. So yeah, the Esper fights were all really cool, and the Espers themselves are pretty cool too, with the possible exception of Poo Poo, because I think that's dumb. Okay, so let's talk about the characters a little bit. So I'm not going to go hugely deep into this, because I have had limited experiences with the other characters in the game. As you guys know, I've stuck with this team for a very long time. So the rest of the characters I only got to see really in battle when I was grinding them. You know, I keep hearing everybody say that Gaw is actually really, really good with the right rages. I never went out of my way to make sure I got those rages, and I never really tried them out. And I feel a little robbed because I didn't do that. I probably should have used them a little bit, but you know, it was just something that I wasn't interested in doing, because I never really liked using Gaw in the vanilla version either. But he's got, you know, from what I've heard, he gets really good rages for healing, really good rages for damage, stuff like that. Again, I can't comment on him too much because I didn't use him much, and that's what the theme is going to be here before I get to my final team. But I will talk about the characters a little bit. Locke is probably going to get the award for most disappointing character in this hack, sadly enough. I thought that he was going to be even better than he was in vanilla. I really like doing Valiant Knight Atma weapon setups on him in vanilla. With the right setup, he can be really, really good. in this, it doesn't seem like they've improved him much. He's just kind of been, he's just kind of Locke still. He's, you know, basic bitch, thief Locke, you know? I love him as a character, obviously, but he was actually my first favorite character in Final Fantasy VI when I first ever played the game. But yeah, he's not the best choice to put on your team, let's just put it that way. Sabin. My dude Sabin. Practicing his freaking martial arts karate kicks over here and shit. I love him. I love Sabin. He's the fighting game character in this game, and you guys know my love for fighting games. I can't do his damn blitzes, man, on this Super Nintendo controller. I know some people were telling me that now you can, like, tap the directions instead of, like, rolling them. I've always rolled them. I was just having so much trouble with them that I never really attempted it. I didn't, like, apply myself to attempt it, especially when he didn't feel like the best option on my team to begin with. So I kind of took a path of least resistance there, and I feel bad about it because I do like Sabin, but yeah, it just wasn't happening for me and him. But from what I can tell, he's got some really good physical damage, like better than even in vanilla, and he's a freaking HP tank from hell. But I'm sure you guys could tell me much more about Sabin because I didn't get to play him that much. Okay. Umaro. Surprising character. Yeah, a lot of people were telling me Umaro was really good, but until I put him in battle and checked him out, I didn't really think so. In vanilla, he can be very, very good, but of course he's berserk and you can't control him. I've still made use of him in that game, of course, and in Beyond Chaos when I get my berserker characters. But I didn't use him this time. I'm sure he's probably better than Shadow still. If I was to set up the exact same setup, which I'm going to, by the way, for the final battle, because we got 2 more Atma weapons and another Epos bracer and another offering. Double Atma weapon Umaro is apparently really, really good too. And he's got much bigger HP than Shadow, likely more stamina as well. I'm sure he's better, but I just didn't use him. Really cool character. I've always liked Umaro. Just not my favorite in the game. Cian. Cian was really good early game, I felt like. He suffered once more, in my opinion. He suffered from just being outclassed by the end of the game. Again, I still haven't used him as much as a lot of you guys who watch have probably used him. I know that his level 8 sword tech is different with like the pink lotus petals and stuff, and it does a lot of damage, but I mean, he just doesn't do it for me, you know. I like him though. He was good in this. The fact that his gauge went so fast was really helpful in the early game after we got him, and I took him around to places that I never did in vanilla simply because of that, and I enjoyed using him for those short amount of times. We had good times seeing him. Gogo. Gogo is still bad. Yes, he's got tremendous utility just because you can equip him with any single command that you want. He has a full magic list. He can now throw Espers. The thing about the Mime is that the Mime always has bad stats, so even throwing out the biggest magic attacks ever is still going to do less damage than somebody else doing it because his stats are worse. And he basically, if you want to use him to cast Ultima or Bahamut or anything big like that, you pretty much have to have an economizer on him because he has no MP. Granted, he could mimic someone else using the economizer and throw out another Ultima or something, but in niche situations, I can see him being very, very good, but he just wasn't a choice for my team. But I did enjoy using him when I was grinding because of these chameleon robes, making him change into the different characters, the different NPCs that we don't have on our team usually. I'm sure people who have not played Beyond Chaos would be incredibly excited about that, because you get to get Kefka on your team and stuff like that. But having played Beyond Chaos and the fact that everyone's sprite is randomized, you've kind of seen it all at that point. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted nothing more than to have General Leo on my team all the time. And then I started playing Beyond Chaos, and I went through 4 or 5 seeds, and I got General Leo on my team quite a few times, and got sick of seeing him. So, as you can probably imagine, that can happen. But regardless, Go-Go, pretty cool. And I really like that Mimicon item too, that turns all of the vanilla commands into their opposite commands. That was pretty cool as well. All right, downstairs. So, Mog had a short-lived time on my team, and it was because of the Malulu charm before we discovered the Merit Award trick. Regardless of that, I like the redone mechanic of his dance. That when he dances now, it just does one dance move. It doesn't rage him like it does with Gaw. So that means that you just cast a random spell from the dance list once. Also, dances don't fail now, apparently. I didn't see it happen. And Mog's just cool, man. Like, he's on the front of the box on the American cartridge. You know, he's always been cool. He's always been kind of like the poster child of Final Fantasy VI. And Terra loves petting Moogles. It's like her favorite thing ever. It's the only thing that makes her truly happy. So, but Mog was okay for the time we did use him. I think he was on the team when we fought Leviathan. If it wasn't him, it was Setzer. But yeah, being able to get the Malulu charm helped out. But once we figured out the Merit Award trick, we didn't really need him all that much. But bonus points for the Geomancer cap because it's cute as hell. Setzer was actually really, really good early when we started getting the costumes, and we put him in the engineer's clothes, and his magic power went up. He became a better mage. He started putting out really good numbers, and it was really helpful for the time. And you know, Slot was nice too for clearing enemies. He got 7 flush sometimes, and yeah, he was just himself, only better once he was in the engineer clothes. And that's basically what they've done with him in this hack, is just make him a better version of himself, like they did with most characters. But yeah, Setzer's always been cool. I've always liked him. And I knew they would give him a damn Sephiroth outfit. But regardless of that, he's still Setzer, he's still my airship pilot, and he's still bad as hell. Okay, Edgar. Surprising as shit. Once I started grinding with him, I realized why a lot of people said I should put him on the team. And I considered it for a minute too. Him having the Gungnir Spear is ridiculous. His jumps do so much damage, and it takes him out of the way of anything that could hit him. And he's pretty speedy too. And in the Dragoon outfit, he's doing more damage also. So yeah, Setzer, freaking awesome character in this hack. They basically made him full Dragoon in this, which I always thought he was supposed to be, basically. Also, Sunbeam helped us out like crazy in the beginning of the game. It was doing decent damage to everything we fought. In fact, he was the reason we were able to grind for all the spells so fast outside of Jiddor, was because he was just sunbeaming wasps all day long. So yeah, Sunbeam was really helpful. Chainsaw was ridiculous towards the end of the World Balance. We didn't really get to use it much after that because my team started forming differently, but I'm sure Chainsaw is still powerful. I just haven't used Edgar a whole lot, but I really liked him in this hack, and they did a great job, like, emphasizing his Dragoonitude, right? And Strago. Sadly, Strago, I hate him. I hate him, dude. Like, maybe having some of the other blue magic would have made him better. If I had, like, gone out of my way to get some of the blue magic stuff. But he's so brittle. He's so just one-trick pony, just magic, dude. He can do basically nothing else. Lore has utility, but no more, in my opinion, no more utility than any of the spells we have in our spell list. They're just cool. And the one time that I fucking did Ancient Prayer while we were grinding that you guys didn't see. The one time I did Ancient Prayer, he frickin' summoned Crusader on me and ruined a good 30 minutes of grinding. So that was... You can blame me for that, actually. It's not Strago's fault, but that just increased the reason why I didn't like Strago. Now, as far as the story stuff they did with him, and him, like, sitting down and having a drink with Shadow and stuff, that was awesome. That whole scene was bad as hell. But, regardless, Strago, bottom of the list of the characters that I wanted to play in this playthrough. He's down there with Goth, sadly. So anyway, now we'll talk about my team. Okay, so obviously, this goes without saying. Terra and Cells are the best characters in this game. They were the best characters vanilla. They're pretty much always the best characters. Good magic, good power, they can do anything. Good HP pool, good MP pool, they can literally do anything. And they can be played however you want. They obviously have specialties, but they're not purely defined as anything. And they're just so cool. Like, you can't... If you're a fan of FF6, I don't think that you can hate Terra or Cells. Now, talking specifically about these characters, Terra. Number one, she has the best equipment in the game. She can equip pretty much all the best shit. And she's got things specific to her. They pretty much went full main character, balls to the wall with Terra in this hack. If you talk to certain people, Final Fantasy VI technically doesn't have a main character because you can leave anyone behind. You can literally not go and get characters. In that instance, you know, Terra is... A lot of people consider Terra the main character of the World of Balance, and Cells the main character of the World of Ruin. Really, you can make that argument, but still, there's not really a main character in FF6, if you want to get technical. But in this hack, they really wanted you to use Terra, and they gave her some really cool shit. You know, I gotta say, the freaking Madwin Horn, dude, such a cool weapon. Giving me X magic with a weapon equipped? Let's go. And you proc my dad sometimes? That's awesome. And not just that, but the fact that she has outfits that emphasize certain things about her. I'm sure that if I made her a physical attacker, she would be fine. Especially with the Omega weapon now. But, yeah, utility, power, everything about Terra is good. And she has the Sadlets, which gives her shock, which is what I always gave her with my Game Genie when I was a kid. So fucking cool, alright? Don't even get me started. She's my favorite character in this game, and she's only barely edged out by Rydia as my favorite character in Final Fantasy history. And it just so happens she's in a Rydia outfit. So there you go. You combine my two favorite characters. Let's fucking go. So, moving on. Let's talk about Dirt. So, for those of you just joining me, go back and watch all the episodes, number one. Number two, I'll explain why her name is Dirt and not Realm. It's because when I first got her in my first ever playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, I thought she was such a dumb character, and she was not likable at all. She was a whiny little brat, and I hated her. So I named her Dirt, because that's what she was to me. And every single time I've ever gotten her in any way, shape, or form, I've named her Dirt. She's the only character on my roster that is not named what she's supposed to be named for that reason. So, sorry. But Realm is probably the most surprising character out of all the characters in this hack to me. She turned out being really, 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 really good. Her magic is pretty dang solid. Once I gave her gold apples, she was finally starting to be able to survive. She's gotta, almost all the time, gotta have a Floral Philel on. Not now that we're up higher levels, but at the time, Floral Philel was the only way to keep her alive because her HP sucks butt. But yeah, just if you need her to do anything, she's pretty much there to do it. She's like a mini Terra and Cell. She's not quite as good as them, but she's close. So yeah, Dirt has done great, and I'm glad I got to use her in this playthrough on my main team, because for a while that slot was open. You know, it was Setzer, it was Locke, it was Mog, it was all kinds of different characters, and she finally made the cut to be on the team, which I'm happy about that. She's badass. So, and I like her little white wizard hood, because she's a little girl, and she's got the actual freaking white mage hood on and stuff. It's cool. So, let's talk about Cells by herself, too. Getting the Maiden Prayer was a big game changer, too, because that meant that I could cast Reflect on my team and have a way to heal through Reflect. And it healed some status effects, too. Not all, but some. So, Cells became our white mage pretty quick, and has since become our damage dealer with economizers. But she could do both. She's just like Terra. She can do anything. Also, her equipment. Some of the things that she could use, like these dark swords that no one else can use. The Soul Eater. Using the Soul Eater on Black Dragon and other stuff was really cool. And these other swords and stuff that were neat. So, Cells had some things unique to her as well, but getting Prey on her was a huge game changer, and it just so happens that was also another command that I gave to Cells with the Game Genie when I was a kid. Holy crap, I can't believe they did both in this hack. That's so cool. But, yeah, we didn't really use Runic that much. Going back to Terra for a minute, we've used Morph like crazy because it was actually really good when we were doing elemental damage. Also, something I didn't know, Morph does not affect non-elemental damage that ignores defense. It doesn't raise that by anything. I still morph with her sometimes when I'm doing it, just because I think it increases her stats slightly when she's morphed. But for the most part, we don't need to use Morph for doing damage. Runic, we didn't really have to use either. The best time we used Runic was just recently to get through the Soul Shrine by runicking Omega Weapons Ultima, Death Ultima, and probably the coolest fight in the game against Kefka at the Fields of Narsh. So, there's that. Now to talk about the character that everybody in my comments told me over and over and over to remove from my team. You need to replace Shadow because he's so bad. These characters are so much better. I have defended Shadow to my frickin' grave here because I like him and I like his outfit because it's Clyde. If you haven't seen my Beyond Chaos playthrough of Outlaw Clyde and the Green Pants Gang, go watch it. It's probably the best Beyond Chaos seed that I've played. Most fun, best story. Regardless of that, I like Shadow a lot anyway. When I realized he got a Clyde outfit, it was over. He's on the team. One of my favorite characters. And double Atma weapon. You guys were definitely right about giving him double Atma weapon when you told me. He's been crushing it. But before all that, when he was just dying left and right, and, you know, we had him with the fixed dice for a while. He did chuck those dice right on Bahamut and wreck his shit. But, yeah, I could see where his shortcomings were. And I was certain there were better options. I didn't care. I stuck with him because he's cool. And now look at him. His double Atma weapon swings are doing like 26k total. And his speed is good, his evade is good. Interceptor is always coming out to block him from physical attacks. And even if not, Shadow's natural evade is so good he's not getting hit by shit. That fight with Odin, throwing a Shadow Edge and having Image, having a Zephyr Cape on, having a dog blocking me, and Golem meant that Shadow was never gonna die from a physical attack. Any physical attack boss is immediately a pushover to him, right? Now, if a wizard, you know, looks at him sideways, he will explode, but It's cool, man. It's Shadow. We bring him back with a raise. He's back at full HP, swinging double Atma weapons and wrecking everybody's shit. So I'm glad I stuck with him. I'm sure that there are a lot of playthroughs out there of FF6T Edition, if there are a lot of people playing it, that never used Shadow and never cared to use him because there's better options. I'm glad that I did, and I will stick by that decision forever. He's a badass. So, yeah, for sure. Shadow, glad I used him in this playthrough. So, now I need to talk about some awards I want to give out to the characters and to other things in the hack, right? Most clutch award goes to Shadow. It goes to Shadow and Interceptor because of that fight with Odin. He just gets the clutch award. Most surprising is Dirt, which we already discussed why. Most utility, obviously, Terra and Cells. Just all-round good characters. You can't fuck with them. The best boss fight in the game. This is very important because there were very, very, very good boss fights in this. That is maybe the best thing about this hack, is the dynamic boss fights. And as I said in the last episode, I finally figured out why it is that they did the gauges in the Final Fantasy V style, the way that they did. Excuse me. And it was because putting together these dynamic bosses required certain timings, right? And if your character's gauges were still moving with animations and stuff, and everyone doing attacks, they couldn't have designed it as well as they have, right? So I get that now, and I don't begrudge them for it one bit. That being said, the bosses in this game were amazingly designed, and there are a lot of them that could probably make this cut. But simply for when it happened and how you had to work your way around it, Kefka at the Narshfields. That fight was when I realized that things were going to be very different. The fact that in vanilla you just totally wreck him just by having Cells use Runic. The hacker knew that. And he's like, I bet all of these old school players are going to walk right up to Kefka and be like, alright, I'm just going to Runic him. So I'm going to give him a gem box, which is also awesome for the lore because he has a gem box at the top of the Fanatics Tower where you get it. And I'm going to have him double spell. And you can only Runic one spell, so the second one's going to hit. That was awesome. And the fact that he laughs at you when he starts charging him up. And the beginning of the fight with Cian, that he immediately poisons Cian, just like he poisoned the Doman citizens, right? Just everything about that fight was so cool, and it got me hype as shit. The only thing that sucked about it was the music, and how it was all fucked up. But regardless of that, that was such a fun fight, and wow, just well done. That gave Kefka so much more personality. It gave Cian more personality. And it was the first indication that there were going to be very, very specialized boss fights coming up in the future. So, yeah, definitely the best fight. Coolest weapon, Madwin Horn. Easy, in my opinion. Coolest relic, Sadolitz. Easy. Get to cast Shock. That fight with General Leo was on the fight itself was not on the list for best fight, but that happening and having to fight him, that scene was so good, and it really reinforced what we're trying to do. It reminded us what we've lost on our way, and Terra was like, I'm going to fucking kill Kefka for this shit, which that was really cool. Regardless, Sadolitz, definitely favorite relic. Alright. Best NPC in the game. Those of you who've been watching me for a long time are going to be very surprised by this. Best NPC in the game, Dwayne. Yes, Dwayne. Why? Because he gave me a merit award. And the merit award made it much easier for us to get through places because of the Moogle charm on Shadow. Also, the merit award made it so Shadow was viable for a long time because he couldn't equip anything good as far as defensive equipment. So, Dwayne, I'm giving you that. You redeemed yourself. I would like to say I will not talk shit to you again if I ever, when I do Final Fantasy VI playthroughs, be it Beyond Chaos or anything else, but I'm still going to talk shit to you because you're a bad person. But thanks for the merit award, bro. Best line in the game. The best line of dialogue in the game. You won't be surprised to know that it's a Kefka line, but when he was in Tamasa, attacking it, and getting all the magicite, when he says, "This town has too much boring and not enough burning," that got me. That hit me. It hit different. You know, that was such a cool line, and it just made Kefka that much better. And I can't wait to see what kind of lines they give Kefka for the final battle, because I'm gonna be really upset if at least one of them isn't still in there. If he does not say that we all remind him of pages from a self-help booklet, I'll probably be a little upset. But if they replaced it with something even funnier, whatever, just awesome, dude. Kefka's lines in this have been just amazing. MVP character in the game, MVP character is Terra. Hands down, no question. She's been the best character in the whole game. And MVP Esper goes to Golem. Golem has gotten us through some shit. Poo-Poo is a close second, but Golem's gotten us through some shit. For sure. So, all that being said, I know I'm forgetting stuff about this hack. The new dungeons, the Ultima dungeon was cool. All the new equipment they put in down there with the Epos bracer and the frickin' Maximilian and stuff, and the Lord Robe. The nods to FF1 with all the Crystal Dungeon fiends of the elements there, the fiends in the Ultima dungeon, just all of the freaking legendary weapons locked up just like in FF5. Being able to return to the Esper world is really cool too. The beginner house having all those achievements and stuff, which I'm never going to get all of, sadly, but just the idea that you can go back there and check out your items sitting there, and that they have like unique sprites and stuff, that's really, really cool. And the outfits, holy shit, all these outfits are super cool, and I like how they changed it so that the Espers don't give level up bonuses. Your stat changes are based upon what clothes you're wearing and stuff. That's really neat. But there's so much about this hack that I wish I could cover everything, but I've been talking for a long time here. I don't know what else to say except that this is the best Final Fantasy VI ROM hack I've ever played. Ever. And it may in fact be the best ROM hack, period, that I've ever played. Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good, and anyone who's a Final Fantasy VI fan should play this, by all means. The nostalgia, you'll make new nostalgia. You'll make new memories. Like, I had all this nostalgia from FF6. I got all of this, all these new stories and stuff from playing Beyond Chaos with the different sprites, and I built nothing but awesome memories from this playthrough. Just the pop-off against Red Dragon. Holy shit. That might be my biggest pop-off ever. And one of my favorite fights that I've ever won. Some of the experiences in this, I'll never forget. This is such a good hack for such a good game. And I wish that more ROM hackers put this kind of love and work into their hacks. So, to the ROM hacker, who I still don't remember the name of, the namesake for T Edition, thank you for this. and I'm sad that I came across it so late. This was freaking awesome. But it's not over yet. We still gotta beat Kefka, and that's coming up next episode. So everybody get ready. I'm hype as shit. It's bittersweet. I don't want this playthrough to be over. It's gonna be really sad, but it's gonna feel really good to hit that final blow on Kefka, whatever it is. Ultima, Omega Weapon Swing, Shadow Atma Weapon Swings, Bahamut, doesn't matter. When I get that last hit on Kefka, it's gonna be awesome. So, thanks you guys for being with me all the way through this. I'm gonna end up thanking you profusely again once I do finally kill Kefka, but I want to say it now. Thank you so damn much for being as interested in this as I am, and for sticking around, talking to me in the comments. You guys know I love that shit. I talk to you guys all the time, and you know, we're heading into Kefka's Tower next episode. Get ready, finale is happening. So let's hope it doesn't take freaking 10 hours to beat him. I'm sure T Edition has some surprises still left in store for me. So either way, thanks you guys for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.